Hi, I'm homosexual Bryan Safi.
And I'm feminist Erin Gibson.
And this is Attitudes, LGBT plus issues,
gender issues,
pop culture.
Ooh.
So cute. Jeffery Self is here, but that wasn't him. Can you handle it?
I think that was my impression of Jeffrey.
It was a good impression. We'll see. Well, you know what? You know who really needs to be the judge of that impression?
Jeffery Self.
He's here.
Himself.
Jeffrey, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I thought it was, first and foremost, adorable. Like,
well, you often talk with your pigtails, so that's what made it especially accurate.
You're just as sweet as it gets. How are you both?
Oh my God, thriving.
Jeff,
did you only come here to hear about Bryan going to the Oscars?
I came here.
I'll tell you who did not hear. I tell you who's not here for that is Erin. I could tell immediately.
I'm here for all the stories.
A word about it.
Tell me everything you want about these people, these rich people. Just talk about these rich people.
We're going over it, I think, during Woo Shoe, but I'll just tell you, like, it was really fun. I was a guest of the O'Briens, which was really nice. And
Soledad
O'Brien, yep. And CNN correspondent / movie star, but we had amazing seats. It was actually fun to get dressed up. I usually hate that stuff. And just watching everything around me was truly insane. Truly insane.
Look great. I mean, you look so like I've never seen you with that much clown makeup and like the wig.
Thank you. I did white all the way around.
Yeah.
I did full. See, what I did though is I did pink instead of red on the lips.
Oh, that's why it really popped on camera. That's like an old theater trick, right? Did you do like the white line down your nose?
Makeup by Ben Nye.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Clothes by who even knows?
Ringling Brothers.
Exactly. Clothes by Ringling Brothers.
Did you get to eat there?
You know what's so funny? Yes, but also
that's not funny. By the way,
no, that's hilarious. The funniest part,
not funny at all,
was yes. I said, did they have food? Yes. But I got to tell you, they put snack boxes under your seat.
I saw
which is
that
crazy.
On camera.
So it's just like, there was like a note from Conan with a snack box that had like Sour Patch Kids, some Chicago pretzel. Erin, you may have heard of it. I don't remember the name.
Oh, Chicago pretzels, yeah.
Schlappy or something.
Sure.
Or maybe that's what I did when I got home. You know, and thought about Kurt Russell.
Oh, you're a live wire.
But it was really fun, and it was.
Did you eat the box?
Yeah.
What was it? Yeah. Can I tell you actually a story that I haven't told?
Because I can't think of anything worse when you're hungry than Sour Patch Kids and bread. Wait, is this a real picture of you eating?
Yes. Jeffrey, there is...
Oh, the one behind Jimmy Moore? Oh, I saw it. It's crazy.
Wait, did it go viral or something?
No,
I just saw it on his Instagram. I love the idea that would have
He wanted everyone to know.
Bryan Safi eats at the Oscars.
No, it would have probably said like pig/seat filler. Bryan Safi caught eating.
Oinks his way to the Oscars.
By the way, our friend Connor said, did you have to like move different seats the whole night? And I was like, I wasn't a seat filler.
What if accidental burn?
Invited.
He's like, how long afterwards was the cleanup? Like, how long did you have to clean up?
You know,
I see Bryan taking down the scaffolding on Hollywood Boulevard today.
But I was going. This is the only story I'll tell you because none of them were that interesting. But I had to go to the bathroom, and then I told the person next to me, or our friend Cynthia, I told her, I said, I have to go to the bathroom. She goes, well, and I go, and I don't know which way to go because I'm going to bother this whole row when I go because no one was standing up.
Oh my God.
And she goes, well, you have to pick a side and you can only go once because there's no way you can do this twice. And she goes, so which way are you going to pick? And it was a much shorter distance to go over than it was to go over Lupita and Mindy and John Lithgow. So I was like, I guess I'm going.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
What do you mean you shouldn't have?
It didn't
like they were put out?
Not
she's
put
bendy.
Out.
She's really bendy. They exercise a lot, so they should be able to.
No, and they were so sweet.
But
I don't know if we're going to cut this, but everyone stood up except our gal.
Yeah.
And And I go, I'm so sorry. Do you mind if I get by? And she looked at me and looked down and she goes, honey, I don't know what you expect me to do. We're cutting all this. And I go, can you just like scoot your feet in a little? And she goes, I can try. She doesn't at all. So I go, okay, I guess I'll try to climb over you. And she goes, if you need to. I literally climb over her. So I went to the bathroom and I saw they had all these salted nuts. I drowned myself in them. No, sorry. At the bar by the bathroom. I ate so many salted nuts. So many salted nuts so that I would not have to pee again.
That doesn't make any sense because doesn't that make you thirsty?
Yes. And then I refused to drink anything.
I have a question about the nuts.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question about the nuts.
They had, is this cute for Oscars? They had silver Hershey Kisses.
Those are just regular Hershey Kisses.
I'm pretty sure they're not.
That's really classy.
When you were eating the nuts, did you not consider you could just evacuate your bladder and then go back to your seat?
No,
I don't understand
my
nuts.
bladder, everything in me was empty. Like I didn't really have a chance to eat because it starts at like 3 p.m. It's a weird.
Yes, and nobody eats before 3. That's true.
Right. I could have eaten everything because no one was checking for me, but I didn't. And so I just, when you don't eat, you have to pee more.
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to go to the Oscars because I have to pee. So every 20 minutes. I mean, it's a problem.
Me too. I have to pee constantly.
Have you thought about getting a catheter or something for the next time?
I'd love to. I mean, when I go to the theater, I'm wearing 2 to 3 diapers,
Honey, we love it.
Yeah.
We love it. By the way, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
I saw a trailer for your new movie. And it looks
the movie I'm in, yes.
So
it's very
good.
The Substance 2?
It's the Substance.
Honestly,
2.
it's probably got the pace of The Substance. I mean, it's probably... it's with, and now I'm embarrassed to forget because she's so brilliant. She was in White Lotus season 2, Erin. She was the girlfriend. That's not Aubrey Plaza. Aubrey Plaza, the one she'd be friends. She was my favorite part of that season.
Megan Fahey. She's brilliant.
Megan Fahey. She's brilliant.
And it's like a really fun, it's called Drop, and it's coming out in April from Universal. It'll be in theaters everywhere. And it's like a fun action, like thriller, like
it looks like Red Eye. Do you remember that Wes Craven movie?
Blumhouse?
Looks like that.
Yeah, and Blumhouse. Yeah, it's very Red Eye. That's exactly right. And it's all like in one restaurant, and it's like she's being stalked on her phone, and she has to figure out who it is within 50 feet.
And it says this in the trailer, so I can say it. But basically, the person on the phone is saying you have to kill the person you're having your date right now.
This is the first picture that comes up for you on the internet. Do you understand this?
I've been trying to get rid of that for a while.
You look 6 years old.
I know.
Well, I'm 7.
It's true.
It's not. It's not great. But yeah, that comes out, and it's
when did it comes out?
I'm gonna go see it. I actually can't wait to see it because it literally looks like just a throwback, good thriller kind of situation.
A 90s action adventure, strong female lead.
And who do you play?
I am like a potential suspect in the stalking.
That's so fun.
It's really, really fun.
But really what we're here to talk about is, and I've pre-ordered your book, Self-Sabotage.
Thank you.
Do you want to know that I only just got the pun when I said it right now?
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Is that the response?
That's what I want. I want people to not get it.
Well, because I hadn't said it out loud yet.
I want people to not get the title of my book.
That was so when I sat down, I was like, what won't make any sense?
No, well, I've talked to a few people about it because my friend Stephanie said, I need a new book to read. And I go, well, you should read Self-Sabotage, but it's not out yet. And she goes, I don't need to know anything else about it. I'm in. Like, that's me. I'm in. Let's do it.
I love that. It comes out March 11th in anywhere books are sold. I don't know what just happened with my light.
No, it's a strobe light. It's amazing.
Also, let me just turn this light off real quick.
Oh, it's going to get Blumhouse.
Very sexy.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun. Okay. Sorry.
Oh my God. Yes. Where are you being held?
It looks like
I don't know, Erin, where are you being held? You both look like you're being held hostage.
I at least have a corkboard behind me. For God's sake.
You at least got a workspace going on. I literally
This is the most unappealing stage picture imaginable, these 3 boxes.
It's so upsetting.
It really looks like, Jeffrey, it looks like you are absolutely squatting in wherever you're at. Erin, we know, has been taken over by Jigsaw, or she's in some. I believe that the fourth wall in Erin's room right now is the camera. I don't think the wall goes beyond that. I think she's literally in a Cracker Jack box. I am in a shitty room, but at least it's a room. You understand?
At least it's my shitty room.
I'm very confused as well. I'm in my bedroom, but it looks.
But why don't you have any art? Is this is this your Blumhouse audition? Is that you were like, of course I would be a suspect in the
No, it's all
stalking.
copywritten. It's all you have to take it off because he's on camera.
It's all copywritten. Yeah, it's all
Getty photos of Demi at the Oscars. He doesn't have photo credit.
Wait, did I tell you about when Ollie went to he went to, I don't remember where it was in Italy, some Italian town that's just, Sorrento, which is a sister city to Santa Fe. And he went to, they were like, oh, you have to come, we have an Andy Warhol exhibit. So he went to the museum.
Just what the world needs. One more.
They had
Andy
all these
Warhol exhibits.
Wait, but it wasn't even that. They had all these Warhols and they were very strange size. And Ollie looks closer and he's like, these are prints.
Oh my God, are you serious?
They printed stuff.
Like at any restaurant in Palm Springs?
They just printed them off of printers and put it up as an Andy Warhol exhibit.
Honestly,
I love that.
It's very
honestly a step up of what Jeffrey's doing.
Truly. This prison
Jeffrey,
cell.
what happened to your collage of all the pictures you've taken on the Walk of Fame?
Well, that I have in the living room now.
Oh, good.
But this was the wall was shelves of my Madame Alexander dolls.
Beautiful.
But
Yes.
a couple of them started falling, like in the night you'd hit, like bump up against the shelf and they would fall.
Scary. Yeah.
And
Very
I just
drop,
broke one.
very
I broke
drop.
one too many. One very drop-esque.
Very
And I
drop.
just broke one too many of them. And, it was
Disastrous.
It was disastrous. It was when I broke the Ascot scene, Audrey Hepburn, My Fair Lady, the black and white Cecil Beaton doll
Gorgeous.
that I thought enough is enough. And I got rid of these shelves
Yep.
and I sold all the dolls. And
Shocking that was possible.
Well, yes, but for a lot of reasons. Emotionally, it was hard. Logistically, getting anyone to buy them wasn't
Very difficult.
Nevertheless, he persisted.
But I am $25 richer, and I have nothing on my wall now.
I got to tell you, Jeffrey, the coverage you have for this book that I can't wait to read, like Graham Norton wrote something about it. Bowen wrote something about it.
Yeah, why are you on this show?
Actually.
Um,
Who else? I mean, literally, it's like every who's who of who's anybody.
It was very nice. Well, I mean, that's kind of like the thing they fucking make you do. I mean, I feel like there was just like an op-ed about that, about like the blurb culture. But
honestly, and I will say this too, like pre-orders are such a giant part of how successful the book is. So like everyone should go buy it, but also like tell us the thrust of this book. I can guess, and I've read a little bit, but yeah, what's the thrust of it?
Yeah, so it's like a book of like personal essays. It's called Self-Sabotage and Other Ways I've Spent My Time. And, it looks at a long-going pattern of toxic behavior and tries to both laugh about it and try to figure out the root of it.
Is there a chapter where you apologize to Bryan?
Oh yeah.
Good.
It is a long chapter. I mean, this is like a 207-page book, and that chapter is about like 200 and something pages. So it is, I don't want to get into specifics.
Yeah,
we don't want to spoil the book.
You don't? It sounds like you really got into specifics in your book about me then.
I did.
Okay.
And I think you'll understand a lot of the specifics. I think you will be pretty shocked by some of it.
Like stuff you didn't even know about?
Stuff you didn't do. Stuff
this is just
you of accusing. Yeah. It's mostly lies about Bryan.
Okay.
That was actually the original title.
But then everyone was like, why would you talk about a seat filler?
Life of Bryan, that Monty Python movie.
The movie. They did already make a movie about me. That's
and so they were like, what about Self-Sabotage? And I
have to say, one of the things that I was especially fascinated by is, and just from the little bit you've posted here and there, is how you can become fast friends with the people at the pharmacy and yet feel
right. And like burning, yeah.
Yes, would you describe that? Because that was actually I totally identified with that, understood it, and was excited to read about it.
Totally. Of just like not really letting anyone really in except for like the people that
strangers
I'm picking up my medications from.
I get it.
They're good folk. But
what are their names?
There, you got me there. But
Erin,
when you bond like that, you don't need names.
Right, that's true. You're on a cellular level.
But I mean, Erin, you wrote your wonderful book. I mean, you know the whole fucking ordeal and process of like, from just like the self-promotion that has to happen.
Yes, but I didn't know this pre-sale thing. So I was like traipsing into whatever, and I missed it by like 200 books or something.
Oh, fucking hell.
I know. Never again. And by the way, never again will I write a book. So that's...
I was going to say, it also is just a horrible experience.
It's really
honest
hard.
with you? The fact that you two have written books and are in the spaces you're in right now really does not bode well for authors. I hate to bring it up again, but I do have to say that if this is the path of an author, I'm gravely concerned.
Books are back, baby.
Literacy and the publishing industry.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm in the basement of the New York Public Library.
Perfect.
And it's it's like a book promo sort of performance art piece that I'm living in the library.
Well, then job well done.
Remember that movie, that book, that kid's book?
From the Mixed Up Files.
Files of who?
Basil
Basil E. Frankweiler or Basil E. Frankweiler.
It's kind of that. That's sort of my life right now.
That book is so iconic.
It's great. And that lady just couldn't get it together, could she?
No.
Those files.
She's frazzled.
She really couldn't.
Yeah.
She really couldn't.
Jeffrey, I have a question about your book. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I'm so sorry to get us back on track.
I just took my sock off. Sorry.
I mean, this really. Well, you're the next Sherry Lewis.
Okay, Jeffrey, have you been prepared at all? Do you have any essays about people in your family?
Yes, a little bit. So I write about my older sister, but I showed her that story already. And that at times references my parents, but I've tried to avoid my parents. And I talk about my grandmother, but she's dead. But I believe in ghosts. So.
Uh-oh. And
I'm in this haunted library, so who knows?
Well, does your grandmother, no matter how you've talked about her, would she acknowledge that as the truth?
Yeah, she would.
Okay, or bad. I don't know. Maybe honestly, I shouldn't say that. Usually people who do you wrong, and I'm not saying about your grandmother, usually people who do you wrong do not acknowledge that they've done
totally.
Yes.
I feel like most of the people but anyone else in my book that I do write about, I changed a lot of names because there is, I do talk a lot about like real experiences that, from like, people that I've dated and people that I've had sex with for money and people that I have burned bridges with. I feel like I tried to change. Oh, I had to, in fact.
Sure.
They would sue you.
In your book?
I obscured people's names.
Yeah.
But if you know who you are, you know that the story is about you.
Hey, yeah.
My aunt did threaten to sue me on Amazon in a comment.
I like that.
Yeah, Denise. My aunt Denise.
That is usually the best place to start a lawsuit.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Comment section.
You haven't talked to your niece since your downfall into evangelical conservatism.
And just go on the Amazon.
Go right on Amazon app.
I want to ask you more about each of these things you've mentioned, but I don't know if you want to talk about them.
How much can you talk about?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the book, so the book, is very like open about like my mental health, journey. In my early 20s, I also was a sex worker for like 3 years. And so there's like a lot of that in the book. Whoops, sorry.
One of your clients.
And,
one of the Chase private clients, yeah.
And that's, obviously that's a big chunk of the book and kind of looks at, that experience. Because while I was doing that, it was like when my friend Cole Scola and I were like doing our early days of like YouTube videos, and then we had our own show on Logo. And so, I was on Logo doing this show that we made ourselves called Jeffrey and Cold Casserole,
Of course,
and
iconic.
also being a full-time sex worker to just pay my rent the whole time. And like hooking up with people and then like being like at the end when they're paying me, like, I love your show. And it was this like
Wow.
Whoa, surreal.
thing, I mean, Candice Bergen had that throughout, the 90s, but like with Murphy Brown, but like
True, yeah. She was on the
did.
side.
I mean, that was her thing.
That's the life, baby. That's the gig.
That's usually the gig when you're on a TV show. But no, it was really strange.
Did you stress yourself out about the sex work? I mean, in other words, like, do you carry that as a burden? I'm curious.
No. And I mean, I'm very pro sex work and hiring sex workers and protecting sex workers' rights and all of that. I don't feel like I've ever had like guilt about it. And it was actually like the actually the easiest part of the book to write, because the stories are all just so, I find, fascinating, and just like
Can
the
you tell us
experiences I
one?
found myself in.
Without
I mean, there's a big chunk of that story is about this guy who had this sort of ongoing thing with, who was a major cocaine addict and would like hire me at like 11 a.m. on a Saturday. And
was this, we can cut this if you want. Is this Vivian Westwood?
Yes, it is.
Did you say that in the book?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, he was wearing a Vivian. He always wore this Vivian Westwood suit that was like.
Wait, this is real?
Yes.
Suit. Yeah. This is real. And he would always wear the same suit, like winter, even if it was dead of winter, even though it was like a full like linen seersucker kind of vibe. And the first time we hooked up, he did so much blow that while he was jerking off over me, he bled. His nose started like raining blood on me.
Oh my God.
And that was the first time we hung out, and then I got
immediately
over, and I came all over me. I did, and then I mean, we had this like ongoing thing, and he eventually took me and Cole out to dinner one night and showed us a Jerry Lewis movie he loved. Like, it was a fascinating.
It's true. I mean, it sounds like he was actually seeking.
And like
a little bit, and friends.
Of these people. And they were fascinating and like people and really supportive. And I mean, I wouldn't have been able to pay my rent without them, So right. It was a fascinating time. But
did any of them ever take you to a Broadway show?
That guy and I were supposed to go see Exit the King, and he ended up not being able to go. But I went. He gave me the tickets anyway. I don't know if anyone else took me to a Broadway show though. I also mostly didn't socialize with people that I was like,
right. You would just hook up.
One time, a guy that I was hooking up with another sex worker, in the middle of us like having sex for this guy to watch, his wife came home, and we had to hide in the closet while he like got her to leave, and it was so.
How do you get someone to leave their own house?
Had her go get like an errand, like something to pick up in the lobby or something. And he like pretended like he had just gotten out of the shower or something. And he like sent her on a fool's ride. It was like a full like, like farcical, like we had to get out of there.
Noises off. But the absolute boldness to do that when your wife is not out of town, but just out of the house for a minute.
No, but on the way out, I noticed he had a poster for Betty Buckley in Sunset Boulevard, like by their door. So I feel like the wife knew on some level, but.
Well, then he had a poster for someone who took over the person who originated the role for a few weeks. I mean, that is a real deep cut. In fact, she might have even closed the show. I'm not entirely sure. But that is, I mean, that's not gay. That is truly like.
No, that's just like, that's like kind of too gay.
That's all. Yeah. That's like remembering.
It's like, okay, we got to rein it in a little bit.
Like just a smidge. Unless he was like, babe, do you mind if I have the hots for Betty Buckley? The original Grisabella from Cats. Do you mind if I put a poster?
Hey, I used to have this in in my locker room, but do you mind if we put it up in the foyer?
It was Farrah and Grisabella. Do you mind if I hang this one up? Poor thing. All the way around. Jeffrey, I got to tell you, I cannot wait to read this book, because what it's going to be, I know, first of all, it's going to be hilarious. I know it's going to be completely just a page turner in that way. fun, gossipy, and also
Who's read it? Who did you give advance copies to?
Are you guys familiar with Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, of course.
The deceased Nazi?
Yeah. So he's my optometrist.
Put it on his grave. That's great.
So I gave him a copy.
Yeah.
And he said, you should get your eyes checked after he read it, which I thought was weird, but I did. And no, I've shown it to, I mean, all the people who wrote blurbs like Graham and Bowen, Andy Cohen, all those people like wrote blurbs for
I'm
it.
sure.
Yeah, but who read it?
I was going to say, but who knows if they read it.
But I want to say this. I also want to say, just because I know you, I'm sure with all of those things said, it's also an absolutely beautiful book. I have to imagine it is heartfelt and true. And I don't know, just as complicated and as sweet and as funny and charming and devastating as you can be.
Are you proud of yourself for having done it? Does it feel cathartic?
I am. It feels cathartic. Definitely feels cathartic, and it feels, it now feels the process and kind of the resentment of actually having to do it is now over. Like that,
right.
Of being like, fuck, I sold a book, now I have to fucking write. Like it's like just such a shitty chore at times.
Well, the only fun part of writing is when it's over. That's really 100%. The best part.
100%. Yeah. And so now it's also such a long
I disagree.
Really? Oh,
you think it's better? Oh, it's also scary.
No, I love writing because you get to listen. This is probably one of the only mediums where you have absolute control is writing your own book.
No, I do.
Like everyone shits on how hard it is, but it is 100% up to you to craft it.
It's true, but I only feel that pride at the end.
Yeah.
When I'm writing, I hate it.
I beat myself up about it a lot, but I mean, I know there'll be another wave of it's weird now that people are.
Oh, right. Erin, did you have that too? Just a weirdness of people are reading this now? Or not really?
I was excited. Yeah. I was excited that it was done. I was nervous that people were going to be like, you don't know how people are going to respond to that stuff. I would do it. Yeah. I would do different things now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Jeffrey, it's like already doing so well. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I feel, and it's just a nice feeling to have it is a nice beginning, middle, and end to something, and you so often in what we do sell an idea for a pilot and you develop it for years and years, and then it doesn't go, and no one even it's as if it never happened. It just
that's the kind of writing that's hell on earth for me.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's this is actually this tangible thing that I can now hold and go oh, this is these are years of my life of work that I actually did.
You option the book.
Right.
You say, I'm going to write the TV show, and then you option the IP from yourself.
Yes, I know. I want to do that.
And you make money twice.
You cast Blake Lively, and you go from there.
And go action.
Well, action. Do you know what? Action on Jeffrey B.
Where can people pre-order this?
Selling author.
Anywhere at your local bookstore. I always recommend, of course. So I mean, even if you can pre-order from a local bookstore by just calling them and saying hey, I want to buy this book, and they'll have it ready for you when it comes out on March 11th.
I did that at Stories, which is a bookstore in Echo Park. I went there and said, are you going to be carrying Self-Sabotage by Jeffery Self? And they said, we can order it.
That's so nice. And then of course, anywhere else that you buy books is great. And then there's an audiobook as well that I recorded, and that comes out on the 11th as well. And that's anywhere you buy audiobooks.
Amazing.
Fabulous. Well, we're so excited, Jeffrey.
I'm so happy to see you both.
You too. Are you? Yeah.
What?
Anything you want to say to children?
Yeah, to children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go to bed, babies.
Yeah.
It's too late. Nice. You know what I mean? You're a kid. You're children.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Absolutely.
See, that works as a joke because if they're listening to this at 2 p.m., then it's a joke.
But if
by
they're
morning, my message to children, pencils up.
Oh, very good.
Not pencils down?
No, because that means they're over. Pencils up means time to learn.
You want the work to start.
Start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? The word start sounds like,
Tart.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking the other one. But yes, exactly. It's a very good
tart. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah. Tartar. Do you know I just found out? You could make this your next book. The prefix ortho means straight. Like orthodontist, orthopedic. Isn't that crazy?
Straight foot, straight tooth?
Yeah. That's how stupid. Like the word movies, things that are moving. A movie How dumb are we?
I know
Very.
that aggravating movie is a stupid word.
It's so stupid.
It is.
But
I
you
don't like the
gotta
word
love it.
jelly either.
Jelly?
Yeah. I
Me
just,
neither.
that's stupid.
Stupid. Like
Yeah.
it's a gel, so you're just being like, jelly.
It's a jelly. Yeah. Oh,
Gross.
yeah.
We are some of the dumbest.
Yeah, we are.
Jeffrey Self-Sabotage, available now for pre-order everywhere. And I
Get it
really
now.
do
Don't
encourage
wait
you
till
to
it's
pre-order
out.
it. Exactly.
Don't wait.
'Cause
Don't
Now
wait.
is when,
Now
we
is
can get
when.
the numbers up. Now is when.
Now is when.
Now is now. R.I.P.
I love you all.
Love you, Jeffrey.
We
Thank
love
you
you,
for
Jeffrey.
coming.
Thanks for having me. I will see you all hopefully soon.
I hope so. Well, thank you to Jeffrey. We're about to get into shoes, but before that, we want to let you know what's on the Patreon this week.
Well, we've got a vault episode number 80,
Yes. You meet Ale's family for the first time.
and we swap stories, family stories. I don't
How
know
did
what
it go?
that means. How did it go? Very badly. I don't know how honest I was on this episode,
Well,
but no one talked to me the whole dinner.
yeah. Well, because they needed to know.
They had
they
to
needed
tell
to know
stories
things.
about
They had to tell stories about you. They needed to
disgraced
know-
family members. Yeah.
They needed to know things. You know what I mean?
And then,
Get back
Bryan,
to
you watched The
themselves.
Great Gatsby.
And I hated it.
And then we share our hate for Baz Luhrmann movies,
And
except
somehow
Australia.
Australia was the only one I liked, which is really considered the worst.
But I do like some Baz Luhrmann movies.
I think I'm
Who
the one
is
who
this
said I didn't
old
like it.
person?
I loved Romeo and Juliet. I would just, for some reason, I wasn't crazy about Moulin Rouge.
I did hate Moulin Rouge.
Right, me too.
But that's not.
Erin calls it Lawn Rouge. That's the nickname.
And then, Bryan, we've got Dateline Recap 88 for all
Oh my
tiers.
God. It's the 4th of July. That's how they say it in this episode.
Hell yeah. Texas?
The protagonist is suburbs of Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
A man they call Big Daddy. And a lot of Mountain Dew and a lot of cigarettes.
Hell yeah.
Which
is
is
it
very
in the
sexy.
90s?
No, it was in the 2000s.
Okay.
But I think the 2000s is the suburbs of Atlanta 90s.
Yes.
Yeah. And also we have We Were Shoe, which I'm really going to get into some Oscar stuff there and some of this stuff I saw and experienced. And also don't forget you can buy individual episodes of Dateline Recaps and this new thing we're doing without subscribing just for $3 each. And you can get the first act of our video episodes every week on YouTube. You can find us by searching Attitudes Pod. And also don't forget, Self-Sabotage and Other Ways I've Spent My Time by Jeffery Self is available for pre-order and releases next Tuesday, March 11th. So get that too. And in the meantime, do you want to get into some shoes?
Let's do it.
Not long ago, people were predicting that Kamala would take the state of Iowa, which would have been incredible. I think Obama took it in 2008. I don't know that he took it in 2012. But that was a very exciting moment to see how maybe this election could have gone in November. I hate to bring up anything that would give anyone PTSD, but that's where Iowa was.
I just started staring into the middle distance.
No, I know. Forget it. Let me think of something.
No. You're
gonna die.
right.
Is that
Diet
funny?
Coke.
Guess what I had at the Oscars?
Diet Coke.
Can you imagine?
I actually can.
No, it was so because I walked up to the bar and I said, "Do you have Diet Coke?" And it's the Oscars, so of course they did. And they get this, they had it in silver.
Who did this?
They had it in silver cans.
What's the difference? It's silver on silver.
What does it normally come in?
Silver?
Oh,
Did you not just hold up a silver can?
I only saw the red, but yeah, it looked like this.
The things your ADHD brain focuses on.
I'll tell you who invited us very, very nicely was, we were guests of Conan and Liza O'Brien, believe it or not, which was very
The
nice.
O'Brien. When you said the O'Briens, that's who you meant?
Well, I don't want to fucking name drop like an asshole, but yes, that's
Well, you
who I-
did. But yeah, you did.
Yeah, you asked me and I said O'Brien's because I didn't want to be gauche. And now I'm saying Liza and Conan invited me. Okay? Is that okay?
I guess so.
Jeez. Well, anyway, that was a good distraction from what we were talking about. In a good way, because remember you were staring in the middle distance about.
Yes, it's very good. I'm so happy you did that.
The Iowa legislature, which they can go right to hell, because also Iowa is where they do all those corn dog eating contests. Remember they make every politician eat a corn dog, which by the way is what I would like to do.
I love corn dogs and I
do
will,
too.
I'll defend them to the whatever. Cows
But
come home.
every Big Brother castmate who's currently in the Trump administration were just filling their gullets with corn dogs so they couldn't speak any longer.
But that would ingratiate themselves to everyone.
It's so true.
Sadly.
It's so true. By the way, so would Mountain Dew and cigarettes, which is why when I run, I'm going to do both.
The good thing about all three of those is you can hold them all in one hand if you really tried hard enough.
And with your other hand, you can operate a slot machine. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
There's nothing I'd rather do than smoke a cigarette and eat a corn dog.
When I eat a corn dog, smoke a cigarette, and drink Mountain Dew, I tell everyone this is my jewelry.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Classy.
Yeah. So the Iowa legislature passed a bill yesterday to remove gender identity from the state's anti-discrimination laws effective in July 1st, 2025. Now, you might think, isn't this happening in more places than we think? It actually isn't. This is the first time a U.S. state has retracted protections like this for trans individuals. What I mean is...
Will you explain it for idiots? Because I don't understand.
This is the first state to have protected a class of people and then taken the protections away. To have included trans people in non-discrimination protections and then to have said, we're taking it out. Similar, actually, to how California did when you can get married for a second and then you couldn't. Except this, and also this really affects people's livelihoods. It's really never happened, I don't think, in the United States in this way.
What on earth how could they justify?
I'll tell you exactly how they did. First of all, there was pressure directly from Donald Trump to the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, who, by the way, whose signature when she signed this, I'm sure is you can read out perfectly every letter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bubbles.
Kim Reynolds. I know these signatures.
She was trying to get an A.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
A for asshole.
People weren't sure if she was going to sign this, and the Trump administration was breathing down her neck to do it because they wanted a precedent of a state protecting a class of people and then taking away those rights of protection and allowing full throttle discrimination now. So her signature made her state the first to repeal these protections from a previously protected class of people. In a video that she put on Facebook, Kim Reynolds said that she did it to, quote, safeguard the rights of women and girls.
Don't need your fucking...
and Erin,
please don't do us any fucking favors in a way that you don't even understand. If anybody wanted to protect women and children,
this is the
they
only
would start legislating against straight white fucking men.
And the only time you hear these Republican women talking about safeguarding protections for women,
not during a school shooting,
is, oh no, honey, never. The only time they talk about feminism is if it's hurting somebody else. Yeah. That's the only time they do it. It's disgusting. And so in this really twisted feminist argument, according to her, that she was making in this video, it was specifically the safeguarding, she said, was to protect girls in gendered spaces and sports teams. She went on to really say stuff that I didn't know what she was talking about. She said it's just common sense to have separate sports teams and bathrooms, but obviously it isn't common sense to have separate conference rooms or girl math classes and boy math classes.
So she's a straight
I'm like,
up
well, none
ding-dong.
of it really makes sense. So I don't know what you're talking about. If those, why is any of it gendered like that?
Don't you think it's absolutely bonkers that we all use the same bathroom if you go to a house party?
Yes.
And then you go to a public space where there's also strangers and then it's suddenly gendered. It doesn't
replay your own tape. Did you play it back and listen to yourself? When signing it, she lied a lot, saying that protecting trans people in Iowa has forced Iowa taxpayers to pay for gender reassignment surgeries. That is completely untrue. And it's all lies. For years, courts have interpreted the U.S. Constitution as requiring all prisons and detainment facilities to provide gender-affirming care for trans people. This has been precedent for years. All major U.S. medical and psychological associations say that this care is safe and essential to trans people well-being, And courts have upheld the requirement under the 8th Amendment's prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. Because this was also something that she said that Iowa shouldn't have to do, is be gender inclusive to and provide gender affirming care for trans people. President Trump even provided trans inmates under his first term with gender affirming care, even though some prisons have tried to deny it. And here's what this does that Kim Reynolds does not mention. These are just the facts. This bill that she's passed will allow discrimination against trans and gender nonconforming people, not just in prisons, not just in bathrooms, and not just in sports, but in housing, employment, and credit. That's what happens when a previously protected class of people goes unprotected. It doesn't just affect your elementary school bathroom. Do you understand what I'm saying? It affects everyone's livelihood. Not to mention, by the way, that, and Erin, you were getting at this too, that all studies show that cis men and a lack of athletic funding harm women infinitely more than trans women would. That's where the disrespect for women comes into place, is from cis het men who won't fund female sports programs and who also,
I'll tell you who if I'm walking down the street at night,
don't protect them. Yeah.
I'll tell you who I'm not crossing the street when I see.
Yeah.
A trans person. I'll tell you who I am crossing the street when I see. A white bro.
Yeah.
Throwing out with his two-lane hat on. I'm like, get me.
Oh God.
I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here.
The kind of guys.
Was it the two-lane? Was it the two-lane that did it for you?
It all just made me shudder, because also on the Dateline this week, there are multiple people who use the word "some bitch."
No.
That is so triggering for me.
Yeah.
I hate that. I know they're saying son of a bitch, but there's a Southern white guy way of saying it, like "some bitch," that is so it actually feels violent. It's so disgusting and so triggering. Anyway, so this bill will allow discrimination against trans and gender nonconforming people in housing, employment, and even credit. There were obviously Democratic state Senate opponents of the bill who tried to add amendments to maintain those protections, but Republican senators who are the majority rejected them, which Democrats said this only proves that this bill is not about protecting women and children, because you don't want trans people to work, you don't want them to be housed, and you don't even want them to be able to get credit. What does that have to do with, quote, protecting girls?
Nothing.
Nothing. So while over half of U.S. states don't have explicit laws protecting people from discrimination based on gender identity, it's not really something that states go after, because it would be very hard to classify. Like, no one really wants to adopt those sorts of principles. And by the way, the state legislature in Iowa has a trans person in the state legislature. Representative Amy Wichtendahl, the only state's trans legislator, who, by the way, these pieces of shit, who, by the way, I always wondered, like, how much of this is an act and how much of it isn't. I don't care what's an act and what isn't from these Republican lawmakers. I don't care if you're just going to the lowest common denominator. You are sitting across the aisle from someone that you see every day, or at least every time you're in
your
session,
neighbor,
looking at this person and saying, you don't deserve anything. And even though we gave it to you, I have no problem looking you in the face and saying, you are nothing to me. Iowa, you elected them. Why are you gagging so? They bring it to you every election. You understand?
Mm-hmm. I've seen it. Both the movie and the attitude.
Exactly. So Iowa, my heart breaks for you. Certainly trans people in this country, I don't know if Iowa's the first stop or not, but I got to say, like, when do we start screaming? When do we start raising our fists, going to the White House? I know people do it. I know people have been doing it in all of this, but, like, where is the guttural scream from every person in power who says they're not a monster? When does it start?
Well, I'm going to read you something in my shoe that I think might be
I really brought everybody down. Really
uplifting of sorts. I do think that I think there's a lot of blowhardery, which is not a term, on the right now. There's a lot of shit.
And every single one of those dudes would just suck at actually blowing.
Absolutely.
Right? They'd be awful.
But I think that people who have a measured response to this are doing it in a way that is under the radar. Because the minute you start telling them what you're doing,
maybe that's the grand plan, and I hope it is.
I hope so. I do think there's tons of cowards out there. I absolutely
underworld, dark Sith stuff in a good way. Is
that a Star Wars reference?
I sat right behind Mark Hamill. He didn't seem to enjoy a minute of it.
Oh, I'm with Mark Hamill. It's a long ass. It's there for what, 3 hours?
It was fun though. It really was. I mean, watching on TV is boring, but being there, it was actually fun. And I never think anything is fun.
No, I know.
Yeah.
You hate everything.
I do. You can't even imagine how much I was dreading going. I mean, I really was. But then I got there and it was okay. Also,
anybody who's friends with Bryan and he invites you to something and he tells you can't go, know he's able to sit through a 3-hour telecast and have a nice time. And there's no excuses from this moment on.
No, as long as you put me in the 4th row, I'm fine. I'm
sorry I have to talk about Hegseth. Hegabeast.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry I have to talk about him.
There's my guttural scream.
He's not a shy guy when it comes to his views on women in the military. I just want to talk about some things that he said, and then I want to talk about some stuff that he did. But he went on a podcast hosted by Sean Ryan, person we all know.
Wait, who's Sean Ryan?
No idea. Anyway, he said
Ryan Perez and Jenny Pearson were also on the Oscars last night, by the way.
What do you mean they were on the Oscars? Writing?
Well, they both did a sketch. Like a pre-taped thing, yeah. Aww. Ryan might have been writing for them also, but yes, he was featured at the beginning. And
was Jenny there?
No, I didn't. She wasn't there, but she was in a sketch for the show, she was the funniest one in it. She was hilarious.
Of course, because she's brilliant.
She's brilliant.
Hegseth said, "I'm straight up saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective. Hasn't made us more lethal." That's a bonkers statement, anyway.
What are you even talking about?
Has made fighting more complicated. Now, unfortunately, his printer was out of receipt paper, so no way to know what he's basing this off of. Just a gut check. I don't know. He didn't quote any studies or anything. He wrote a book, in fact, several books, a lot of them with the word warrior in the title. So.
I actually hate that word. Because I feel like I associate it with, how like people start saying, like God warrior is a phrase.
Yeah, but I only like it when Pat Benatar does it. Is that her?
Me too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine fighting on the front lines and thinking you really have to win a battle when you are literally the most populated religion on the planet? Chill out.
Chill out, exactly. To all of them. Take a chill pill, babe.
You're winning. You always have been.
Although I did see a study that Christianity, people who associate themselves as Christians, has got plummeted in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
The under 30s aren't having it anymore. No, and thank fucking Christ for that.
I don't really.
But please, your
faith
spines.
We always say this, faith is one thing. Personal faith is one thing. Believe in something beautiful and whatever that is, that's true to you. That's great. It's really religion that causes all the problems.
Just listen, you know what it is? Not having critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
Don't let someone else think for you, period, end of story, including this podcast.
No.
We don't know what we're talking about.
Let me do that. Yeah.
So he said in one of these books that women have performed well in dangerous support roles. You've been great secretaries when the bullets are whizzing by. But he said women in infantry, women in combat on purpose, not on accident. That's a different story. Is another story, he said. Women cannot physically meet the same standards as men. Then he said this as an explanation or his way of doing poetry. He said, dads push us to take risks. Moms put the training wheels on our bikes. We need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units. What?
You idiot.
Dads push us to take risks. Moms put the training wheels on our bike. He's never met a female skateboarder.
By the way, Yeah. Also, like, I challenge anyone to say my dad works harder than my mom in nuclear families. Like, I dare you.
Dare you to say it.
Yeah.
Hegseth was questioned, obviously, about his stance on women in combat by senators during his nomination hearing. And he says he supports women in the military, but wants to review military standards to make sure they're not lowered to accommodate women. Do you know who quits the military more than women?
I can guess.
Men. So anyway, so it's not a shocker that he wants women out of the military. He fired Lieutenant General Jennifer Short, who is a senior military advisor to the Secretary of Defense. She's got 430 combat hours, command at squadron and wing level, and so much experience that her replacement is this guy, General John D. Kane, who has literally not even half the experience she has.
Do they call him Candy Cane?
No, they actually do have a term for him.
Oh.
Pale, male, and stale.
That's great.
Isn't that the best burn in the world?
Yes.
Pale, male, and stale?
Yeah. Hey, I hooked up with a pale, male, and stale last night. Okay.
How'd it go? Not well. You didn't try hard enough.
Not well.
He also fired Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Lisa Franchetti. And this is very unprecedented because usually when a new administration takes over, some people get rehired or replaced, but they really don't do it like this. It is legally within their rights, but it's so fucking obvious they're doing some anti-woke bullshit where they just literally don't want anyone who doesn't look like them in the military. They also fired Joint Chiefs Chair General Charles Q. Brown, who is a black general and has a flawless record and was even commended by Trump for his work. Didn't fucking matter. Didn't matter. He was out. Hegseth even went and said that Brown may have only advanced to his position because of his skin color.
That is so fucking disgusting.
What they don't understand.
Honestly, what is this world? What is this oligarchy? What is
they
this?
They don't understand that every single person who is a quote unquote DEI hire, who is quote unquote not pale, stale, and male, has worked twice as hard for that position because of this idea that they can't do it. That this idea that they can't possibly rise to the fucking occasion that all straight, white, cisgender males do by proxy. Everyone's working fucking their asses off to do something that these other people don't even have to work hard for because they're the expected, they're the expected choice. They're the fucking, white patriarchal choice. It's insane. You don't want the best people for the job. You want the whitest, straightest, malest people for the job. That's it. Just just be an asshole. Don't also be like, Europe is it's about qualifications.
That Europe is basically now calling us an Axis power. This is like really happening.
There's no denying that we are witnessing the lamest cum dumpster of toxic male patriarchy death rattle. Like, this is a fucking intense death rattle for sure. But as I teased earlier, I want to read you a section of an interview with New Mexico Governor Dr. Michelle Lujan Grisham.
Yes, honey.
And this is from Santa Fe Magazine, which is half ads for Adobe fireplace builders and half really good interviews with artists.
I gotta say, I do love city glossy magazines. They're the best.
This one
it's mostly ads.
I'm going to tell you something. This is like an elevated version of that, but there's a lot of ads. There's a lot of ads, but
they're usually beautiful magazines.
Oh no, this is a large format.
Yes.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
High gloss.
But I do have to thumb through a lot of Adobe fireplace experts.
Sure.
Okay, so they asked her about how she saw her role in this new world order, and I found it comforting, and I hope you do too. The governors, the mayors, they're the people we need to look to for guidance and heroism right now. She said about this new administration. She said, it's not just immigration data they're looking for. It's going to be healthcare data. They're going to be looking for sexual orientation. They're going to be looking for mental health data. That data is protected. No state that understands those protections is going to provide that information, including this one. She said, we will go to court every single day with every attorney general on our side, including ours, for the next 4 years to protect every single New Mexican. If the Texas National Guard comes in, have I talked about that? Yes. Have I talked about if someone else comes into the state? Yes. Have I talked about what preemptive strikes will take? Yes. Am I going to meet with all my statewide officials? Yes. Am I going to be lined up with my attorney general? Yes. Am I going to have more lawyers? Yes and yes. You cannot operate a detention center here without a license from me. You're not going to get one.
Nice.
The countries who try to give one are going to get into trouble. Who do you think gives them all their money? I do. How's that going to work?
More of her.
Okay, so
one of her in each state, please.
Absolutely. And she is not up for a third term, but who is running for her office under the Democratic ticket is Deb Haaland.
Okay, yeah.
And talk about an incredible predecessor to Lujan Grisham. When I tell you honestly, now you have never heard, and you would not know about these statements had I not read it in a local magazine. And that's what I'm talking about. I think things are happening on a local level.
Yeah.
And we're hearing about the worst of the worst, but I really, and I hope I'm not being Pollyannish, and I hope I'm not being delusional, but people really fucking are mad and angry and care. And I think they're just being very calculated about the way that they're going about these defenses and what they're doing. I truly believe that, and I hope I'm not wrong.
Me too. I think you're right, though. Sorry about my shoe, everyone. It wasn't very hopeful. But I am. I mean, I probably will be at some point. That was a nice letter. And I hope they're, what's so funny? I said it'd be nice to have one of those in every state. When I go to Neiman's, I say I'll take one, and I'll take one of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that hilarious?
It's so funny. I can't actually think of anything funnier.
Yeah, but then
is this how the O'Briens fell in love with you because of the sense of humor?
This sort of charm. I did different jokes like knock knock, who's there? When I go to Medium Marcus, I say I'll take one of everything.
Mm.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. We've got some reviews. We're going to start with some Patreon comments, which we love.
Trey Flores.
God love ya.
Our Daddy in the Sky Loves to LOL belongs on a t-shirt.
It sort of does. Our Daddy in the Sky.
I will say Sky Daddy specifically is a something my friend Bella came up with. And I
Sky
can't
Daddy?
stop think. Yeah.
Oh, it's for God.
But then I've been saying Daddy in the Sky. I've been bastardizing her very good phrase, but she deserves all the credit.
Andrew Smith says 2 pianos, 3 hands would be more impressive. I took myself to the LA Phil. I had teased that on the show last week. What a tease it was. And it was really fun. I'm going again this week by myself.
Just a lot of reasons for you to wear a suit.
Listen, if you think that I'm spending money and not getting every dime of that money back, you're crazy. Emily Shields says, I just turned 40 and listen to this podcast so that Erin can make me feel young every week.
Because I'm older.
Wow.
By 5 years.
Good job, Emily. Bryan, I love you. Bryan Long said, I only drink lemon lime Gatorade because real athlete Bryan Safi drinks lemon lime Gatorade. If by real athlete, you mean played tennis for 30 minutes and nearly died.
Okay, this is regarding Susan Powter, which is on this new thing we're doing. Cole Ruffalo says, I've determined that Susan Powter is the human equivalent of a sparkler. Never been more right.
Clive said Susan Powter shopped in the middle of the night so Bryan and Erin could groceries podcast. You know what? She really did. We ran when she walked.
This is hot news. Erin Myers says Susan Powter doc exec produced by Jamie Lee Curtis is forthcoming. Cannot wait.
I'm going to be honest with you. They are two peas in a pod. Those two. Energy for days. They don't take crap.
Okay, this is from People magazine. Powder made millions with her Stop the Insanity fitness infomercial in the 90s, but lost it all.
Yes, I remember hearing that. But I don't know what she was selling. We don't know what she was selling.
No idea.
She was just on all the time. You know what, though? She sold me her heart. She sold me her heart.
How do you lose millions?
Bad decisions. I mean, think of all the things you could invest in with that much money and then they all.
Oh, that's right. Especially in the 90s.
Exactly.
I can't wait to see this doc.
Like, she says that Oprah blacklisted her from a bunch of stuff because she didn't want to go on Oprah's show too. She was too nervous. Who can you trust these days?
I don't know. Christopher Lowell also on Wooer's Shoe. Now, Emily, this does in fact reinforce that I'm making you feel young. Just FYI, this is where we're going right now.
Sure.
C says, I would also watch Christopher Lowell when I was sick from school. He loved floor up lights behind sofas and tables. Okay.
This next
Did you feel the earthquake last night?
I did feel it. It was a shaky one.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian Davis has a really long one, but I want you to read it.
This is really good.
This is good.
When I lived in Arizona circa 2005 in my early 20s, I had a dry cleaner I used near work. She was a leathery white woman who enjoyed the sun, 2 packs of Camels a day, easy to style short reddish blonde hair, and very revealing attire. After weekly visits for about 2 months, she said, I finally figured out who you remind me of. Christopher Lowell. I look nothing like Christopher Lowell. Closest comp is Prince William, distantly post-deterioration. This was her way of saying, I'm familiar with your people, and if you ever want me to launder your balloony upper drapes, you give me a holler, sweetie. Deep smoker's cough with a strained smile. Je suis Christopher Lowell. That's right. Je suis Christopher Lowell.
Just sweet.
Go to patreon.com/attitudes for
all of
Dateline,
this.
for
Dateline.
all of this. Wooer's Shoe.
This new thing we're doing. All of it.
Groceries, everything.
Connect with other people who listen to the pod. We also have Discord watch parties, all kinds of stuff that you get access to.
That's right. And in the meantime, what was the? Now I want to do the Sky Daddy thing.
Pale, stale, or male?
That's it.
Stay away from the pale, stale, and male.
There we go. Love it.